All right. Welcome back to Building Carco, episode 4715. Today we're sitting with, once again, with our wonderful head of content, Shlomo Wolf. Shlomo, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, sir.
So I did a fun thing last night, and then at work today. I decided to start making cold calls for sales. And it's interesting because they're not really cold calls, even though I'd be calling people that I've never spoken to before in my life. But I built a CCM company. I built a care coordination company. So I know, so if I find chronic care management service-based companies, I know exactly how to talk to them. I know their pain points. I know the ins and outs of their business. So that puts me at a kind of a better position, but it's still cold. You're still just, So what I wanted to do is I had some ideas for like lines that might work to like catch people's attention a little bit. And so what I did was I called the ChatGPT number, which is 1-800-ChatGPT. And then I was like, what's up? I want to practice doing some cold calls with you. You're going to play this and this person. I told it like to play this persona. This is the company that you have. This is the revenue. This is the amount of employees. This is whatever. And I want you to play varying different levels of difficulty. And I'm going to, we'll do a sales call. And I was like, cool, let's go. And so I did that a couple of times. I will say it wasn't perfect because ChatGPT tends to be a fan. So
too nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a yes man the whole time. So it was like, absolutely, I'll book that demo. And I'm like, you probably wouldn't say that. I mean, you probably wouldn't. But it did give me the chance to just like have a rapport back and forth very easily. No apps, no SaaS products. Just like have rapport back and forth and practice verbally saying the things that I kind of wanted to say. Like one of the things I said, and this is like a couple lines in, but I said, let me ask you, Mark, when's the last time you got a cold call that was actually relevant to your business and not just trying to get you a loan? And it worked. The guy like chuckled. He's like, yep. It's been a while, So I like went back and forth.
This was a real call that you did.
That was a real call that I did. Yeah, but I practiced it with the ChatGPT thing, and it was like, it's been a while. No, but yeah. Anyway, it was fun, and then I did cold calls today, and it was a lot more comfortable. So yeah, just a fun AI thing that I did today.
It's a pretty cool use case.
Yeah. I'm sure there's like agents out there. Now there's like AI agents that will do the calls for you, supposedly, that,
Right. That'll be the next cold call line. When
Right.
was the last time a human called?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? That's amazing. Except that the humans it's going to be bots picking up the phone.
True.
So that's going to be rough. There's going to be a separate phone. There's going to be a separate communication. Okay, here's a prediction.
Ecosystem
There's going to be a fully separate communication ecosystem that will be only human, super analog, super old school, and there's going to be like where social media is now. It's going to be like a social media for humans. Twitter's like what, 60% bots now, 40%, some insane amount.
I think when it was bought, it had a lot of bots.
Yeah, no, they've done some. I saw that Meta just got rid of 10 million Facebook profiles. Because they were try to mitigate bots,
right.
to try to start with it.
They have like 3 billion users.
Yeah,
So
but it was like a
0.1%.
Yeah, it was probably like a whatever. But yeah, there's definitely going to as because I think that, and this really does kind of tie back to obviously Carco and the conversation that we have every day about like agentic, the place for agentic AI in healthcare and stuff like that, and it's like, we're not useless as humans. Like, there are things that we enjoy doing. Like, not everything is a burden. There are things that we enjoy. There are conversations that we enjoy. There are interactions that we enjoy. There's many, many interactions that we don't enjoy that we wish could be automated. There are many conversations we wish we wouldn't have to have. There are many different layers, like whatever. Yes, but there are things that we do enjoy. And I think the job of everyone in their own vertical and what we're doing for care coordination is understanding, okay, what are the things that you don't enjoy doing that you want to be automated versus what are the things that you do enjoy doing that you don't want to be automated. And just because something could be automated doesn't mean it should be automated. Like dating your spouse should not be automated. You know what I mean?
Well,
You will not get the actual outcome of marrying somebody if you have two AI bots that just like go and chat with each other and then decide whether or not you guys are a good fit. Like, yes, great, but you didn't have any experience. You didn't.
I did see a clip from Gary Vee where he was predicting that
someone's grandchild is going to marry a bot.
That all of our grandchildren are going to marry AI robots.
Do you still see that guy a lot in your feed?
No.
I think he's fallen off.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's really big on Facebook.
Garage sale somewhere.
I think he's big on Facebook.
Still?
Yeah, Facebook is.
But who's on Facebook?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
A lot of 6-year-old women?
No. People our age are on
6-year-old men too.
6 or 60?
6D.
Oh, that also, but even people our age. I have a friend, he always sends me these memes from Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got an old soul.
Could be.
He's got an old soul.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Gary Vee's, he was right. He was definitely right about some things. There's no question about it.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's a successful guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just funny because you were bringing up the having bots date each other.
Yeah.
So.
And he, yeah. So anyway, I think that it's important to keep that in mind as this whole agentic like hype cycle winds up and then down. Is like, don't lose sight of the fact that just because something could be automated means that it should be automated. Like,
right.
There are things that we enjoy as humans, and those are the things that should be supported by and accentuated by technology, not the other way around.
Right. Well, I mean, that's easy to say on a personal level. It's not as easy to say to a company that's trying to disrupt things. Like, let's say a company trying to disrupt manufacturing or whatever, and they could replace all their people with robots. For them, it makes way more sense, even if they have people that enjoy their job.
Well, I think it depends on what the end result is. What is the actual incentive? You know, like if I can take all the nutrients, which I'm sure I can, if I could take all the nutrients that you need throughout a day and put it in a little pill that's tasteless, smellless, and perfect, but it's perfect for you, and that's all you need to take.
Okay.
Would you take that pill every day for the rest of your life and never touch food again because you don't need it?
Probably not.
Probably not, because you enjoy the experience of eating good food.
Yeah, but I would take a pill that supplements everything I'm not getting from food.
Right? Why? Because there are elements of eating that we don't enjoy. Like we get fat if we eat too much, and if we don't eat the right balance of food, but you don't want to stop eating altogether. So even like in eating, there are things that you enjoy doing, and there are things that you don't enjoy doing. You know?
Right. But again, that's on a personal level. What about at a company?
So my point is that like, what is the end result of the thing that you're doing as a company? And like in our case, if the end goal is to actually change patient behavior, then that is the end goal. And so what is the best way to do that? And then, no, I mean, you definitely bring up a good point that like,
well, I feel like in our case, it would be if our goal is to empower care coordinators to do the parts of their job that they enjoy,
right,
then it would make sense. Because I wouldn't be surprised if there does come a time when AI is better at delivering better patient care. You know what I mean?
I mean, it depends what you mean by care. Care can mean a million different things, but actual
true.
Care coordination to the extent that you're changing patients' behaviors and health outcomes around like medication adherence, and you're building actual relationships with them. I mean, can it happen? It definitely can happen.
It's happening in therapy, which arguably takes more.
Is it happening in therapy or in loneliness?
I mean, there are people, I've heard stories, I even tried it myself, where I sometimes, I used to go to a coach, sometimes still do. I uploaded all the transcripts from our sessions into ChatGPT, and I was like, absorb this, you are now my coach. And then I spoke to it, and it was very good. It was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Now that was still trained off of a real person and whatever, but I've heard I heard someone recently say that like he had one of the best therapy sessions of his life talking to ChatGPT.
I've done that, and I had a very good experience with it. But I'll tell you the massive difference, which is that you're reaching out to it.
True.
And you're working with it, and it's kind of similar to, it's not exactly similar to the loneliness thing, but the thing is that like you're reaching out to it and you're taking the initiative, which means that you're already like 90% there. when you, as a care coordinator, are dealing with a patient who's 72 years old and is really not healthy and doesn't even have enough money for groceries next week, so they're not thinking about their health because they can't afford to think about their health. They just have to think about living for the next, like when you're in that kind of situation, but you're trying to keep that person out of the ER, that's where I really think human empathy really, really comes in. Is it possible that agentic AI is going to get there? It is possible. I just am not seeing it right now.
Right.
From
I mean, it comes down to, I guess, can you make a logical chain of events to best help a person? Or do you need that human soul or whatever to be a part of the conversation?
Right.
Which sounds like it's probably some age-old debate from throughout the years.
Yeah. I think the end, like,
I mean, as a value, I believe that you need human empathy. Like that's the health. That seems to me the healthiest route.
yeah.
But
Look, no one knows what the future holds except Sam Altman. No, I'm joking. But just the way I see it right now is that there's definitely an overhype on the agentic thing than the reality by
OpenAI
a pretty wide margin. It came out today, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't get.
What is agent mode? What is it?
From what I understand, it's just like you tell it, hey, you're going to Chicago. So you'd be like, I'm going to Chicago.
So it's like officially
find me a place to.
Remember that box? What was it called? The bunny?
Oh, yeah. The rabbit.
Rabbit.
The rabbit. I actually bought one back in the day.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, I returned it. It
didn't work.
No, it was like a very slow ChatGPT, basically.
Oh my God. That guy's
I bought it.
Gone.
No, they're still going on.
No way.
Yeah.
After that debacle?
So the reason why I bought it is because they had their whole thing was this thing called LAM, I think, which is a large action model, which is like you could train it, and I was like, this is great. I'll train it on all my video editing. It'll make shorts. It'll do everything.
Right. Except that it was not
when they released it.
BS.
When they released it, it was like coming soon.
Right.
So I bought it because I thought it was like going to be like, hey, it was $200.
Right.
Fully
it was a good
fully
pitch.
refundable.
Yeah.
So I was like, why not? I'll return it. So I got it, and I figured I'll just wait until this LAM thing comes out. And then I realized that they're not upping their price or anything. I was like, I could buy this whenever, so I just returned it.
Yeah.
And if they actually come out with it, I'll buy it.
And the LAM thing ended up being BS.
Well, it's the same as all these other agents.
It's just ChatGPT.
No. What they do is
they reverse engineered it, and it was built on just OpenAI. And part of the coding was
that was something else. That was like
that was that.
That was the UI UX, like the actual OS, the operating system of it was like built off Android or something. And then they connected with ChatGPT, but it was very slow. Right. But the whole agent thing is basically they run a virtual desktop, and then you say, I'm going to Chicago, I need a place to sleep and places to eat that are kosher. And then it goes and Googles and it finds things and it books it for you and all that. So I guess it's like a nice assistant, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the question is, how good is it? Because it'll be like, hey, I found this kosher restaurant. And then you have to be like, then now you have to go look it up and see if it's actually good for you. So like, how useful?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if it's as good as the internet, if it's only as good as the data that the internet feeds it, then for that particular use case, it's gonna be crap. Because by the way, the internet is horrible. Google is horrible at kosher restaurants.
That's true.
Just like, forget about knowing which ones are actually kosher and which ones are just like kosher style. And it's like, there's a cheeseburger right there, and they're open on Saturday. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. You have to call them up. And
yeah, you just have to like look at it and look on, like, there has to be a kosher certification. But like, if you are trying to find kosher food in Miami and you're using Google, you will end up at one of the same 5 restaurants every single time. There are tremendous kosher restaurants in Miami and surrounding areas that you just cannot find on. They have gorgeous websites. You cannot find them on Google because there's been like, anyway.
Right.
So you have to like ask friends. Like, you have to know people that know places that like whatever. So
I mean, I think they're basically trying to come for the personal assistant job. That's what it seems like.
Right.
Meaning fire your personal assistant.
I'll try it.
Yeah. But there's also, what's funny is like they're coming out with it like, we're releasing this big thing. It's like there's like 3 other companies that already came out with this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sent. Did you see what I sent on the group?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this guy, and I appreciate that post because I've been saying that for a while. That basically, like, this guy came out and he said, OpenAI just killed my startup. And he said that he had a startup that was basically doing that. It was like automating data or something.
Yeah, it was automating. Yeah.
And then, but then he pivoted, before this, he pivoted, because his users were asking him, all his users were like very specific type of people, and then they were asking him for a very specific type of thing.
Right. It was a sales thing. It was basically it would scrape the internet, find leads,
and then
his people were like, we want these to go into our CRM, not just give us a list, and we want to know when we message them that we want it all automatically done. Like a tool for what you're doing right now with cold calling and email.
Right. So then he pivoted to just building agents that would take the data and put it into people's CRM. And he's like, OpenAI is never going to solve for that because OpenAI, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but for today it's true. I mean, I think the same thing for Kerko. Like, I think that the big, gigantic, like, you have to know that, like, literally somebody today was like, oh, medication refill requests. Why don't you just automate that? And I'm like, do you understand that every single individual doctor has a different workflow for how they go about medication refill requests? And some only do 30 days, some only do 60 days, some only do 90 days. And obviously there's, then there's some structural stuff that you could probably put in there, like, for example, for controlled substances, a whole different thing and whatever. But some people, they want to use the medication refill requests as a way to get people into the office. So they say, no, you can't have you're not going to get your request unless you bring your thing to the office for a visit. And then while the visit, I'll get, like, every single doctor has different ways of going about this and different people. And like, this doctor will sign off on it, or first it has to go through the person at the front desk, and then they create thing, and then they send it. Like, how do you automate that?
Right.
Right.
And the only way to do it is to create a whole new system that everybody adopts.
Right.
Yeah.
Which there's this great guy, Stuart. Is my buddy, Stuart. Damn it, what's his name? He's so funny. I can see his face in my head. But he basically he always puts out these like satire tweets of like, great idea, new EHR that's AI forward and doesn't suck. Why is no one doing this? like these like really obvious ideas. They're just
nice.
But yeah.
If Shlomo were here, he would have a lot to say on this whole topic.
Yeah. He's still pretty strong. I mean, I think you see it. I mean,
I kind of converted to his side.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, I don't get excited anymore. Like, a friend messaged me, like, did you see the new OpenAI thing? I'm like, yeah, whatever.
I think that 2023 and 2024 were the years of, like, and I actually said this in January of 25. They were the years of hype about Gen AI. And then 2025 is the year of actualized value from Gen AI. But then 2025 is becoming the year of hype around agents. And it'll probably bleed into 2026. And then, like, late 2026, 2027 is going to be like balancing out where's the actual value in this kind of stuff. When is it valuable? When is it not?
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, really the only insane, incredible, world-changing product was generative AI. Like, meaning writing, essentially an incredible writing and decent thinker.
Right. But it was so. I mean, take yourself back to early 2023, late 2022. You had some people being like, yeah, within 10 months,
AGI.
The AGI is coming out and there's going to be no more sickness and like messianic times kind of thing. And other people are like, the whole world is going to be turned into paper clips. Everyone's going to be shredded by the overlords. Like, I'm serious. Like, there's this guy. Yeah. Like, there's this guy, Mo Gadawat, I think is his name. And like, he kind of became big then, and he just hasn't stopped singing the same tune ever since then. Like, he gets on stage with this sweater that he puts over his shoulders, and he just goes like, it's going to be the end. And it's like, bro, we're 4 years into this. I mean,
the doomers,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it possible? Yeah, sure, it's possible. The fact that Elon's freaked out about it, okay. But the guy's also now all on the train.
Elon is from the Grok 4 thing. He was like saying, like, he was basically saying that AI has run out of human problems to solve. And now, like, he was like, any test that was created by humans, it could solve. Like, it's no longer a challenge.
Cancer.
Exactly. So he was like saying the physical world, physics is basically the next test. Is basically like, can it come up with new things within the world that we couldn't even come up with to throw at it. So, I mean, and he thinks that it's possible.
Right.
So.
And then the world that we live in is okay, but how do you use these things in an actually effective way? It's like there's electricity and then there's building a toaster.
Right.
It's like, how do you
Exactly.
take this electricity and turn it
Good
into
analogy.
toasting your bread?
Yeah. I mean, I think that what we're doing is the way to use AI currently.
Yeah.
Workflows, like that just makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's what you're saying. Find the areas that are much better automated that nobody wants to do, and then just like shrink that gap.
Yep. It's such a fun playground to be in because like you get to just find. I mean, it just becomes a matter of like resources and prioritization, and obviously, but like you know, to work in a space where that's what we do. We basically sit there and try to find out what are pain points that our users have and how can we solve those. It's just like a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Like there's people that mine coal for a living. That's there's like
And they're
no
also solving something, but
yeah, but the people that employ the people who mine coal, they're just like we just have to mine more coal. Like that's the one thing that they have to care about is like getting more coal out of the ground, not like solving people's problems in the coal mine,
well, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Oh, well, I mean, they would for their business sake, meaning,
Yeah.
do you guys need a tractor? How do we be more efficient,
That's true. They did come up with those little
the conveyor belts.
yeah, the little roller coasters,
Oh, yeah.
The
mine
You're right.
carts.
They did come up with those, and they came up with headlamps,
I mean, I hope they have machines doing coal mining nowadays.
and they came up with flooding and collapsing mines, also, as we very well know in Pennsylvania. Do you know the history around here?
I mean, I know there's a lot of coal mines around here.
So this like was the space for the coal industry, like Wilkes-Barre, like all those massive dilapidated mansions along the water, like all these coal barons, and there used to be like a
that's what it
train.
was?
They used to go by. Yeah, it was like before the wall was there. They were on the water because there was no dike.
Interesting.
So they were just like and those mansions aren't. I mean, they're all dilapidated and abandoned now, but they were like these massive mansions,
Right.
and they were on the water, and they were like very fancy area. There's trains and stuff going by and taking the coal from place to place, and then. I mean, in general, the whole coal industry went away, but I think there was like some massive event where like there was a massive collapse.
There's a big flood.
Right. Well, no, the 972 flood is separate. But I think there was like some massive coal mine collapses or something in the area. Yeah, the 72 flood was crazy also. That's when they built the dike.
Right. A lot of Jews used to live here then.
Yeah.
That's what
Like pre.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
1915.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My house was built by a guy that Jewish guy. He it was built in 1915. This guy had a brewery.
Oh, the Lion's Head Brewery?
Yes.
Nice.
But here's the story. He started a brewery with a partner right before Prohibition. Okay.
Good timing.
Good timing. Prohibition hit, and he survived Prohibition by making like almost alcohol type drinks, officially.
Okay.
And then once Prohibition was over, he became a shark and he just started like buying up all the small like microbreweries in the whole area. And he became like the biggest brewery on the East Coast and like the second biggest in the country. I don't know. He was like very, very large.
Interesting.
One of the biggest deals was they bought the Stegmeyer, which was that other building in Wilkes-Barre that's like very, very big. And yeah, he lived in my house like his whole life.
Wait, that's his name is Stagmeyer? That's
No.
he just bought
his
the
name was
mansion.
Smolowitz. Yeah.
Interesting. How did you know this?
I
You found like a document in your house?
Yeah, I researched my house before I bought it.
That's
Like,
cool.
what's the deal here? Yeah. I actually once stopped by the brewery and I was like, they sold to private equity in like 2020.
Yeah.
I stopped by and met the CEO and I was like, yo, I want like a beer tap or something from here. I was meant to go. He actually gave me his card. He's like, come in for a tour sometime. I just never did.
Nice.
But yeah, that's the Lionhead Brewery.
In Wilkes-Barre, yeah. I'm surprised they're still running.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything exciting happened this week in the Shlomo world?
A lot happened this week. Well, I feel like, I mean, last week we were talking about climbing the hill. I feel like we started climbing a little. Like we put our poles in the snow and started going.
Yeah.
Like we had a big, I feel like the past 2 weeks was like like we had been growing 40%, 40%, and then it was like, oh, this month might only be like 30%.
Yeah.
And then we're like, what do we do?
Wait, we should be
How do we keep growing the business? And then we
right.
like crunched our heads and got a helpful tip from, what was his name?
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, we spoke to some people, and we're starting some interesting strategies that we'll see how they pay off.
And so far, I mean, it's paid off.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit at least after one day. It's proven itself worth continuing at least.
Yeah, for sure. If we could figure out a good flow for it, which I think we will be able to, we'll be able to kind of automate that. It'll be pretty interesting.
So that was exciting. I don't know how that felt for you, but I enjoyed that. Like
putting the pieces
coming
together.
up with like solving the problem and in addition to the content, like Abe Sutton came out this week.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that. We put out our Abe Sutton podcast. It's finally unembargoed. Yeah. Everybody go watch the Abe Sutton podcast. He's the director of CMMI, the guy that runs stuff. That's like the Innovation Center for Medicare, Medicaid. But yeah, no, it was a workhorse week, which was good, but it was, it was fun to kind of, you don't want to get stuck in I think people get stuck in like rhythms and they get stuck in like comfort zones, even if like it's a good comfort zone, but then you get stuck in a comfort zone. It's like, no, constantly you should be getting out of your comfort zone and trying to constantly find like what is the number one thing to do for the business right now, and then just go do that thing, go all in on it.
And I feel like what's great about business is like if you do get stuck in your comfort zone, something's gonna shake a little. Like that's what happened to us.
Right.
It was like a little shake up, and then we took action, and we're taking action on it. But
I saw this this thing like hit me. I posted about it on LinkedIn. Everyone probably thought it was ChatGPT, but it wasn't. It was not ChatGPT. I wrote that.
I felt like you wrote it to me.
Yeah? Okay, good. But I want to like flush it out more because like I want to tell you where how it hit me, and it sounds probably like a super obvious concept, but
no, I actually really liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
I'll say what I wrote first. What I wrote was that it's interesting that often like you see super successful people and they're not enamored by their own success. They're just like nonchalant about it, like whatever. And what just hit me is that it's because they carry the weight of what it took them to get there. And what I want to flesh out more is that like I always thought, and this is probably true, that most people suffer from we have this thing as humans where like we don't find ourselves interesting. We only find other things interesting, things that we're not yet. And as a part of that, talented people, that's why you have celebrities that get starstruck by objectively lesser celebrities than themselves because they are not a celebrity to themselves. That person is, right? And then you find that with talent also. Like people that are talented don't find their own talent to be interesting. Someone else is talented, like, oh my God, like, wow,
Right.
Like how often do you have a singer that wishes he was a musician? You have musicians that wish they were singers. It's like, you're a freaking amazing musician. Why are you trying to be a singer? Right. But like their own talent is not interesting. It's like, whatever. So I always thought that was it. And then there's another element to that Israel says, which is that most people that end up making it is because they're just like sick in the head. And so they just are just like chasing something the whole time. So they're just like messed up, which is that. And there's definitely truth to that. But I basically was like flipping through YouTube and I came across this clip of this guy, I think it was on Rogan. And Rogan goes, "You're a gold mine guy, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, where do you find gold?" And the guy said, "Gold is, you find gold exactly where it is." And Rogan starts chuckling. And then the guy goes, "No, but," he's like, "Do you know that it's 29 years from when you find gold to having a working gold mine?" And he just started going through the process. You gotta crush the rock. You gotta get in there. And it like taking you through all these steps of like what it takes to go through. And that's when it hit me. It's like, this guy, you're looking at him, he's probably 65, 70 years old. He's been doing this for 40 years and he's worked his butt off and now he has a gold mine, right? He could look at you with a straight face and just tell you all the steps that it took to get there. Like, that's why it's uninteresting, because he knows everything that it took to get to the place that he is. And it's like, here, I'll tell you. All you got to do is go take a gigantic scanner on a helicopter, and you've got to find a mountain with gold in it. Okay, now you got to go get a loan from the bank, got to get equipment over there, people. Then you got to break down the thing. I'll tell you how to do it. It's fine. It's like really step by step, right? Like it's not. It's like, and like you look backwards, but that is the hard thing, is just going through all those freaking steps, you know?
Right. So your point is basically, I guess it's hard to, when you say enamored, you mean like think highly of yourself?
Yeah. I think, think highly of yourself, and more like impressed. Yeah. Yeah. It's more like being impressed with the success.
Right.
Because when you look at it, when somebody just sees the success, all they see is like the building is built. Whoa, look at this amazing building. But the builder knows the step by step that it took to build the building. It's like, it's not that complicated. All you have to do is like have a construction crew and take a bunch of material and get permits and dig a hole. And like, right. You know, like that's it, like they know what it took to get to the thing that you're seeing all at once.
Right. It's funny. I'm cracking up because I feel like you have this in the sense of, but when I first heard about you, like I read this Omni article about you, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy's so impressive!" Like 27, he's like my age. He has a whole company, and then I came to meet you, and I'm talking to you, and you're like it's almost like you didn't even register how impressive it was.
Yeah,
and then it's just funny. It's making me crack up.
Yeah.
No, but that's actually, it's a very cool, it's a very interesting point. I feel like it's a good reminder because it's probably, I think it's a good thing to reflect back and in a positive way on your accomplishments. Each person, meaning each of our accomplishments.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but it's very true.
That's funny. Yeah. I'll tell you what I was reflecting on. That's funny. What I was reflecting on is that like, these are the steps that are taken to build a gold mine. Like I was more reflecting on the space that we're in right now. Like we're in the middle of building the gold mine. We're at like, you know, step 3 of 10 or whatever, of 100, I don't know, right. Of like building this gold mine. And we're at the point where it's like, you know, you got to find, like we found the gold, right? We know where the gold is. And now we're like figuring out how to get the right crew down there and the right equipment and pull it out of the ground. And we have one little stream of gold and we're trying to figure out, like, that's where we are right now. And there's like ups and downs, like, oh my God, we found something today. And then like, oh my God, but then it was just a tiny bit of gold and there's lumpy and there's, you know, whatever.
Right.
But these are the steps to take to get the gold mine. And if you don't, and I guess what was like inspiring to me about it is that like, yeah, you could just not take those steps and then you won't have a gold mine, or you could take the steps and you'll have the gold mine, but you're not going to get the gold mine without taking the steps. But don't expect there to not be steps. Like don't expect you to not have to dynamite a mountain if you want gold.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's actually funny. I was thinking about that earlier at some point this week. A little different, but basically like, I mean, one way to say it is like there's no free lunch kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also like the way I think of it in my head is like having a golden goose mentality, which is like, I think a golden goose is basically like, you know, the idea of it is like some poor farmer like suddenly finds this like goose that lays golden eggs, and like now he's rich suddenly and he doesn't have to do any work and all that. And a lot of, at least for me, I used to a lot of like have that mentality, a lot of like, I have this idea, you know, like I remember when I was in yeshiva in like high school and I wanted to start like my design agency, my marketing agency. And it was so simple in my head. It was like, yeah, like I'm going to get a bunch of clients and like, I'm going to charge this much and I'm going to get this many clients and then I'm going to be making tons of money. And then meanwhile, there's like a million steps that you don't see. And each one of those is not glamorous, not fun, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, it's a similar point said in a different way, I guess. But
there's this guy on Instagram who pops in my feed. Is actually like a Lubavitcher. His name is Fogelman.
Okay.
Whatever. So He's like, he makes, like all these financial gurus, the Grant Cardones, and all these guys, and they sit there and they're
Oh, I
like,
know this guy.
yeah,
It's
it's so
amazing.
funny. So it'd be a clip where guys like, guys like,
It's so good.
what you want to do is start off with 30 properties, and then you should get to 300 properties, and you're rich. And then he pops in, he's like, what's wrong with that guy? Why would you start with 30? You're supposed to start with 7,000 properties
Yeah.
and then get to 100,000 properties. Then you want to 10x that shit. And then you want to just like exactly like what you're saying. Like, no, we want to, just do it. I don't understand. Like, all you have to do is just do it.
Yeah. I think I saw a great one. It was like 10 ways to make $1 million. And like number 4 was like sell something for $1 million.
That was him making fun?
No,
Or
that was a real
That's a real
person.
clip?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Some of these people are out of hand. But, yeah. Anyway, so it's,
It's funny.
yeah.
I actually have something. Okay,
Yeah.
I had a question I wrote down that
Sure.
now that it's coming up, slightly connected. I was speaking to somebody this week and he was telling me like his business idea. And then he was like, I would do it, but I just don't have any money, And I mean, he was like the way he was describing it, like it would take like $1 million to like buy some of the equipment that he needed and whatever. And I was thinking about this idea of like the is that a real excuse? Is that a real blocker? Because I figured you might have some insight on this because Careco needed a bunch of money up front. And you could have very easily have been like, well, I'm going to need like, I don't know how much up front, a couple $100,000 up front. Like, okay, I guess I don't have it. I guess I can't do this. But that obviously didn't stop you.
Right.
And I mean, that's a common thing it's a common belief. I don't know what you want to call it. Anything coming up?
Yeah. I think that there's like 2 approaches that can be taken. And it really depends on what the product is and what the idea is and who the person is. And there's a lot that goes into this. But I'd say if you're starting out and you have no prior experience and you have nothing to show as a human, basically, and that's where you're starting, I'd say people, and then you have an opportunity and you feel like the opportunity can make money, but it's going to require a lot of upfront money, right? That's to summarize the challenge. I think there's one of 2 ways that you approach it, that people will approach it. One, and I've actually done both in my short little tenure here. One is you can appreciate the fact that you might not be able to do that thing today. And it's harder to appreciate this when you're really at level 0, right? But let's say you're at level 10, because I'm experiencing this actually right now with a couple ideas. I have some very, very big ideas. But in order to do that, I'm going to have like massive funding, right? And so I can appreciate the fact that it's like, okay, I might not be able to do that thing today, but if I continue this course of what I'm doing with Careco, I'll, improving this stuff and whatever, it's a ladder that you're going up to that you will get there, right? And so like,
It's in the foreseeable future.
right. So there's like, start like, have that as a big idea, but then like start something that like draw backwards to where you are today. And like, what are some things, either some successes that you can have or some steps that you can take or some things that you can start to like kind of climb your way up. And then each thing will compound on itself. And then you might not be able to do that massive idea today, but you may be able to do it in 2 years or in 5 years or in 10 years or whatever. Like start building your story. You don't want to just skip to chapter 17. You know what I mean? So that's like approach number 1. But then there's, and this is why I said it really depends on like a million different factors, but there definitely are things where you can just figure it out. Like I bought my first piece of real estate, and I don't like do a lot of real estate, but I have a couple different things. And what happened was I saw, and this was a little different because it was very black and white. I saw a property and it was for sale for a good reason. Like the owners wanted to move, and the rents, it was a multi-unit thing, and the rents were going to make money based on the purchase price. It was just like a black and white thing. And so something like that, but I didn't have the money to buy it. So something like that, I was like, there's no way that not having money is going to stop me from buying a thing that's going to make money. It doesn't make any sense. Why would, how could that stop me? It doesn't,
Right.
And so I figured it out, and I found a partner, and it was whatever. And we did a bunch of stuff, and we got it figured out. But, that's obviously very different than a business that has so many different variables and so many different opportunities to fail. But so that's why it really depends. But if it is a business, like I would say like you actually taught me this in a very powerful way, that like every consciously or subconsciously, we talked about this, but everything that all big ideas that you have, you can usually get 80% of the value with 20% of the cost or effort. Right? Like a couple months into work together, I had this massive idea for a video. We actually ended up making this. So we could say the full story. I had this massive idea for a video making fun of like chronic care management and the fact that it's time-based. And I had like a scene with a boardroom from like CMMI or CMS, and there's all these officials there and they're like deciding, and then someone runs in and is like, oh, we found the cure, 20 minutes of care. Like we had this massive production style thing to show. And then you were like, the real value here is in this one scene with a boss and a care coordinator. And most of the cost is in the boardroom with all these people. Why don't we just cut that scene and figure out how to implement those same things? And then we did, right? And then, by the way, to this point, there's other videos that we wanted to shoot that we tried budgeting down, and they did not work at all. Like we had ideas that would be really cool if we did them properly, and we just didn't do it. And that's it. But yeah, so like try to figure out how you can maybe get 80% of that start with like as resources that you actually have. And then just appreciate that, you know what? You're not meant to skip things in life. And like, if you are able to hack it, then you'll hack it. And if you're not able to hack it, go build your story. And there's a solid chance that by the time you get to a position where you are the type of person that has the money to make that thing happen, you may actually have enough experience that at that point, you're actually gonna be like, oh my God, it's a horrible idea. Like, no. You know?
Right. Like maybe there's a reason why it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you think?
That's good insight. I mean, where my mind went to when this person was telling me this was like the MVP idea of like, well, can you like do something like to like prove it that it works kind of thing. So that's where my mind went. But it's also like I didn't want to like be confrontational and like start telling him.
I mean, was it coming to you for advice or sounding or just
no?
Like,
we were just chatting.
We
were just chatting. I wasn't gonna like I mean, I did tell him like, is there an MVP type of thing,
right.
You know? But I mean, yeah, that's where my mind goes because I mean, I think you have to have an appetite for risk if you're gonna be the type of person like to do what you did with that house. You have to have. I mean, it's less risky. There's still risk. Like, what if you don't get tenants? What if this? Like, so you do have to have an appetite for risk. Like, there's a great story. A friend of mine lives in like a Syrian community, and there's this one guy there that's like a really big real estate developer. Mogul. And he was telling him how he bought his first building in Manhattan. And he was walking by this building and it was like great location, a massive area on the main floor for stores and stuff. And like, it just wasn't like the main floor wasn't being utilized and everything else was offices. So he found out who the owner was and he told the owner, like, how much would you sell this building to me for? And the guy's like, it's not for sale. He's like, just give me a number. And he gave him some number. And then he went to, I think it was Nike. Like he got it into somehow whoever's in charge of store retail at Nike. And he was like, hey, I have a spot for you in this location. And they were like, that's not possible. It's not available. And he's like, look, I have a contract here saying that I'm going to buy this building and I'm going to give you a spot. Do you want to rent it? And they were like, okay. They had a contract. Then he went to the bank and he got the money and he bought it.
Nice.
And that's how he did it. Meaning like he had no money. He had nothing. He just like got a yes, showed it, right. He like put it all together.
Right.
So that's like a crazy story of like doing something with not having any money in like million, and getting right. it all together.
Right.
But you need to have a certain appetite for risk and a certain like, I guess a certain mind for that kind of game.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Oh, but it's an interesting topic. I'm really into like the whole like two things that I like is in my soul is like I never want to be a victim. I never want to have like a victim mindset. it's mainly that. I mean, that's like the main thing. And I feel like the concept of like, oh, I can't do it because of whatever reason, that's already like a little bit of a victim, and I have like an allergic reaction to it. But at the same time, sometimes there's logic behind it, meaning like
Right.
just because there are external factors doesn't mean you need to brute force your way through it. Like
Right.
sometimes there's a lesson there. Sometimes there's, you know.
Yeah, it really is an interesting balance. Like I've seen people in like throughout my life that you have people that obviously don't believe in themselves and they don't think that they can do things and so they don't do things. Then you have other people that do things that don't work over and over and over and over again, and they use the quote unquote perseverance as the excuse when it's apparent to everyone, like at a certain point, just stop. Like
Right.
this is not like punching through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man works because there's a room on the other end. But if it's not a wall, it's just a freaking block that doesn't end, then you're just going to keep smashing into a wall, you know?
Right.
Like don't
Yeah.
do that.
So that's a trick. Like I have resistance to that one, just because, meaning like because you do hear so many stories of like everybody thought I wasn't going to do it, and I just kept going, and then I made it. And I guess that's like the fodder that feeds the flame of people that have that.
It is the fodder.
But
It is. But if you really think about it, it's probably deeper than that. I mean, the fact that at the end of the day, people that make it, they don't make it by being stupid.
Right.
Like the people that persevere, they're not persevering with stupidity.
Good point.
They're listening to people and they're pivoting, and not giving up is not the same as doing the same thing over and over again.
True.
Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different result. That's not what perseverance means.
Right.
Perseverance means that you never just say, you know what, I'm out. Like, I just can't take this anymore. You just keep hacking it. You keep figuring it out, and you keep figuring out a way through. And more often than not, your issue is not starting, not stopping. To your point.
Your issue is
Like more often than
right.
not, the issue that people have is not starting, not stopping.
Right.
You know.
Right. Failure to launch.
Yeah, failure to launch is definitely a lot. Like there's 1.5 million ways to fail, but it's way better to fail than to not try. There's no question about it.
Yeah, for sure.
No question about it.
Right.
Well, this was more of a philosophical conversation. Always a pleasure with the great Shlomo Wolf, philosopher, musician, and content creator extraordinaire, strategist, marketer, and overall good guy. So good to see you.
You too. This was fun.